68% of people overestimate their presentation skills. 31% are almost there. But this small sliver, this 1%, is the elite group of presenters that everyone studies. Now, I wasn't born a good presenter. I failed, I learned, and I completely rewired my approach to crack the formula I'm giving to you in this video. So in the next 8 minutes or however long this video is, I'm giving you that exact code. No fluff, no theory, just actually what works. So if you're tired of being forgettable or feeling nervous, stay with me. We're gonna fix that right now. Let's start right with section number 1, the hook and hold. Now in this section, I want you to imagine your audience is on the highway. They are going 190 miles per hour, right? They are speeding so fast. In the first 10 to 15 seconds of your presentation, you need to say something so extreme or so interesting that they stop and turn around to come figure out whatever the hell you're talking about. Now I'm gonna give you 3 techniques you can use in any presentation to instantly get the audience's attention. Method number 1 is the stun gun. Now it's exactly what it sounds like. You need to drop a fact so interesting that the audience is just stunned. They cannot wait to hear what you're gonna go into deeper. It needs to be something that jolts them awake. Something like 93% of communication is nonverbal. It's spoken with your body language. Then you go in depth as you go on throughout the presentation. Now the second method you can use to hook is the personal story. This needs to show a clear transformation either of you or someone you provided this tangible result to. This story will make them buy into what is actually possible based on what you're presenting. Now the last method is the curiosity gap. You need to show them that there's a difference between what they know and what you know, and you're gonna help them close that throughout the presentation or video or whatever you're doing. I could have done that by saying there's a presentation technique Apple, Google, and all the biggest tech companies in the world use that no one does. This is gonna make you think that I have some secret magic technique that no one else is using. Now, every single one of these methods is super effective, but attention means nothing if the people don't trust you. I'm gonna show you how you can get them to trust you in a matter of 30 seconds. This is the credibility formula. If you don't sprint to trust right away, as soon as you hook them in, they're gonna turn their brains off. They're gonna go on autopilot and they're gonna sit through your presentation. But if you can get them to buy into you as a person, they're gonna listen to anything you have to say. So first, you could establish why they should trust you. Now, I'm putting quickly on the board because you should get this done as fast as possible. So just quickly establish yourself. Now, you can establish yourself through qualifications. Let's say I had a PhD in presenting. I could say, listen, I'm a doctor in this. I've studied this for 15 years. You need to listen to me. This immediately gets you to buy into who I am as a person and my credibility on the subject. Now, if you're not a PhD winning presenter, there's something else you can do. It's tangible results. That's what I used in the beginning of this video. I said I used to be nervous. I wasn't born a great presenter. I still have a lot of work to do, but I've made major improvements and major transformation. So that's my tangible result. And I'm proving it just by being in front of this camera right now speaking to you. Now this last method is in all caps because it's by far the easiest way to prove your credibility. Understand. If you show them that you understand their specific problem in depth, all of its pros and cons, they're gonna perk their ears up. They're gonna listen immediately. You took the time and effort to understand the problem. Therefore, you must have a good solution. Now, I want you to remember one thing from this first section. Even if you walked out in front of an audience of 10,000 people and they were all there to watch performances and presentations, you have to earn their ears. You were given the right of them being there, but you need to make them listen. Now, grabbing attention and gaining credibility were your first 2 moves, but now you need to target it precisely. Before you begin building any slides for your presentation, you need to answer 4 questions. This is section number 2, know your audience. The first question you need to answer is the know. What does your audience know about what you're presenting? If they don't have a grasp on basic concepts, you can't go into deep details of quantum physics. You need to match them at the current level they are and then build on that. The second question you need to answer is their pain. What keeps them up at night? What is the burning question that you are going to provide a solution for? If you know that, you can build a more effective hook and make sure everything is tailored to answer that one question. Now, the third question you need to answer is expect. What are their expectations? What do they want in terms of presentation etiquette? I'm not going to go in TEDx and present the same way I do when I'm on a YouTube channel. This is going to be a lot more interpersonal. TEDx might be a lot more professional. If you know those expectations, you can shatter them. You can go above and beyond, and you'll be way more memorable. Now, the fourth question you need to answer is action. What specific action do you want your audience to take following your presentation? For me, in making this video, I want you guys to be able to present more effectively. I'm hoping some of you will take take this and actually use the information I'm giving you. But if your presentation is all about personal finance, you may want them to hire you as a financial advisor. So you need to understand what action you want, so again, you can tailor that presentation. So if you skip the research I just gave you, you're essentially shooting in the dark. I mean, you're not going to know what your audience actually wants to hear. But here is the next step. After you understand what they want to hear, you need to learn how to influence them and how to persuade them. So I'm going to show you the influence triangle. Now I know this is not the best drawing, but these are 3 different triangles that together build one pyramid. We have the logical, the emotional, and the personal. You're going to pull all of these different strings to get the audience persuaded in whatever direction you want. So the first thing that I would always do, and it's the reason it's the top of our pyramid, is emotional. You need to immediately impact them a little bit emotionally so they'll perk their ears up and begin to listen. You could show them how someone just like them transformed by using your exact approach before you even go into the minute details. I showcased how I transformed before I explained what this formula actually was. Then you can get logical with it. You can give them irrefutable evidence that your approach is by far the best. Provide them statistics, provide them numbers. I didn't do that in this video, but it's something I do in almost every single one of my presentations. And then last, be personal. Share your authentic self. Don't come off as snobby. Don't come off as super genius. Be more relatable and people are going to want to take a listen to you. Now, you could just go about this by doing one of these different triangles, but the truly elite presenters, what separates them from everyone else is they weave all of these together very strategically. So you need to do the same. Now, after you've hooked your audience, built your credibility, and finally understand them, you need to show them that you have a structure. You need to show them a methodical approach. For example, I told you guys I had a formula presented for this video. If I did not have a formula, if I had just listed off a bunch of tips, it probably wouldn't have seemed like I'm very prepared. So if you want to come off as more prepared, you need to build a structure and let them know. It needs to flow clearly from point to point. I'm going to show you a few different ways you could go about that. The first is the design. You can build out an entire structure that you're going to walk them through and let them know all of it. If I would have started this off by saying, listen, this is my formula for how I learned to present. It's step 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on till I finished. It may have worked. It may have let you know that I came with this methodical approach. It also gives your audience an expectation for maybe how long this is going to take, how in depth it's going to go. It can let them check in or tune out immediately. Now, the second approach for structuring your presentation is known as signposting. You can just let them know that, hey, I'm moving on to a new section, or we're going to take a short break and we're going to be back to this. I've done this throughout this video by providing you section number 3 structure, and I've gone through every single section so far. This last strategy I'm sharing with you is a really badly drawn kettlebell. This is eliminating any excess weight. Anything that's not absolutely crucial to your structure needs to be gone. You don't want to overwhelm the audience with a bunch of information that just honestly isn't relevant. You need to cut out good points to make space for great ones. 3 great points beats 10 mediocre ones any day of the week. Now, here's the psychological edge of how you're going to hack into your audience's brain through the use of structure. Organized equals intentional, right? And intentional equals high effort. High effort equals high perceived value. So just by being organized, you're increasing the perceived value of your presentation because they know you put more effort in it than a random assortment of information. So make sure you are building out a thorough structure that your audience can follow throughout your presentation because they will buy in 10 times more. Now, do not get me wrong. The message you provide during your presentation is very important. The hook, the credibility, everything else is so important. But if you're not mastering the performance, you're going to fail. So here's 4 distinct elements that separate the elite performers from the rest of society. Now, the first element that separates elite presenters is the use of their energy. They know how to match enthusiasm to the topic they're speaking about. They can change their tone of voice from very commanding with high impact to something more conversational depending on what they're talking about. So by matching the energy to what you're talking about, people are going to naturally assume you know your stuff. Now, element number 2 is pacing. It's the rate at which you're speaking. If you speak very, very quickly like this and you're constantly rushing yourself to get to the next point, you're going to come off as very passionate. But if you're slow, deliberate with what you're saying, you're going to come off as impactful and serious. So you need to master the rhythm at which you're speaking. Slow down for key points of emphasis and take a second to pause to collect your thoughts. There's no need to rush and say or like. All that's going to do is kill your credibility. Now, key element number 3 is your presence. It's your body language. It's your subtle authority, the non-spoken kind. If you're sitting up here crossing your arms or putting your feet together, I know you can't see my feet, but my feet are together and I'm hunched over a little bit, you're gonna come off as very insecure and not very confident. But if you're standing up here with a broad posture, looking directly at the audience, you're gonna come off as confident, and it's gonna, again, boost your credibility even more. So mastering these two things boost your credibility, your pacing and your body language. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, Evan, what is this? What is this question mark inside of a triangle? This is your anxiety personified. So I threw it inside of this triangle for you. Anxiety before presentations is completely normal. It happens to so many people. I'm gonna share with you an exact technique I use to help me overcome it. So this is the 4-7-8 technique. You're gonna breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, and then breathe out for 8. When you do that, your body naturally regulates and naturally calms down. And it's gonna help boost the serotonin and the dopamine being created inside of your brain. Most speakers aim for good enough when they're presenting. They just wanna make it to the end. But you didn't invest the time you spent watching this video to be mediocre. You wanna be great. You want to complete section number 5. You wanna win. Now, you have the exact formula that the elite 1% use. All you have to do is make it happen. So the next time before your presentation, work through all 4 sections: hook, know your audience, structure, and performance. If you could do that, you will command your next presentation. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to see more whiteboard-esque content, this is something a little bit new for me. So just leave a comment and tell me how you like it. This may end up being a regular Wednesday thing. I will see you guys in the next video.